Hey there, and today I'd like to talk about the Sheaffer Snorkel. Before I say anything about the pen, I have to apologize for the inconsistent uploading schedules, which is gonna get worse actually. Recently I've been out of town on a overseas trip to teach in a village in a certain country, so actually right now I'm in a hotel room. I've met a lot of wonderful people here, great memories I've made. And it's going to get worse. The schedule is going to get worse because I'm actually going to have to serve in the army soon. Because in my country of origin, you do have to serve in the army once you hit the age. But regardless of all that, the important part is, here is the Sheaffer Snorkel. So, I've had this pen for 2 months. Actually, no, I've had this pen for 3 months, and I've absolutely enjoyed it, so I'd like to share it with all of you. So here we have the pen. Let's go through the parts of the pen first before I talk about my opinions on the pen, as always. This is a Sentinel. Let me get my notes. This is a Sheaffer Snorkel Sentinel, which was produced... Well, the model was produced from 1952 to 1959. This one is a Sentinel because it has a stainless steel cap with these stripes. I'm not sure if you can see. This is not the best environment for filming. So there's these stripes on the cap with a golden cap band here. A white dot. Now the white dot models, as far as I know, are all inlaid nibs. And the non-white dot models are the open nibs. So it's just a simple stainless steel cap and a gold clip here, which is, it might look spring-loaded from a distance, but it's not. It's just a clip. It's quite usable. And here is the pen barrel. The pen is made from plastic, and in this case it's black plastic. Of course, this particular model has like pastel blue, pastel blue, burgundy, and all that kind of colors, but this is the only one I could find for sale. Then there's actually some words here. Let me see if I can get that to show up. There, now you can see it. It says W.A. Sheaffer Pen Company, Fort Madison, Iowa, USA, made in USA. And on the very back here is a turning knob for the filling system. Now this one actually has these grooves in it. I don't think they're particularly aesthetically pleasing, but they do actually help a lot with the filling process of this pen, because it's actually it actually provides the grip you need to really turn this knob. And here is the nib. You can see it's the beautiful inlaid Sheaffer nib. I actually really do enjoy how this nib looks. It's got a nice heart-shaped breather hole, which is nice and vintage. And it's a dual tone with the gold on the top and the, well, silver colors on the bottom. I'm not sure if the entire nib is 14 karat gold, like if the bottom part is 14 karat and the top part is just stainless steel. I'm not sure about that, but at least this part here is 14 karat gold. And it's got some imprints on there. Rather nice. Then you can see here we have the ebonite feed and the little tube that extends. Let me just demonstrate that. So you twist the knob here, and the tube comes out a considerable distance, and you could then dip this into the ink you want to fill the pen up with. And this is good because then you don't have to have the ink level all the way up to the nib or the section, which then would mean you would have to wipe the pen down. It's going to be a mess. You know how fountain pens are. They actually designed it this way so they could compete better with ballpoint pens in terms of ease of filling, which I think they've accomplished, because when I fill this pen, I don't even have to wipe the nib at all, because the nib never touches the ink if you're careful. And then if you want to fill it, you just go ahead and pull this all the way back, and you push it down, you leave it in the ink for a few seconds, and it fills up. This is basically just a generic sack bladder fill pen, like most pens from this era. Of course, you just twist the knob in the other direction to retract this tube, and it's a very nice and convenient filling system. And here's the section. It's got, again, these plastic grooves in it. Again, it's pretty much like these back here. How do I feel about them? Well, they feel kind of cheap to me, to be really honest with you. They really do just feel like plastic, but they really are functional. Like, these are grippy lines you can hold on to, and then this section is really grippy in any circumstance, no matter how sweaty your hands are. And then there is a bit of a silver trim here with a ring, and you could actually unscrew the pen barrel. Let me do that, because it is rather tough. So as you can see, the barrel just twists off, and inside you can see the mechanism. The ring also comes off with the barrel, so you do have to be careful when you're taking the pen apart for cleaning. That can be lost pretty easily. There is a spring inside, and this cartridge looking object behind it that has the sack inside of it. It's pretty much the entire pen, honestly. So I guess it's time to talk about what I like and don't like about this pen, which is going to be kind of difficult because there is nothing I don't like about this pen. Like, nothing really that I can think of off the top of my head. So, okay, let's talk about what I like about first. So it is a smooth writer, but it does have feedback. It does have feedback, but it doesn't have so much resistance to the page, if you know what I mean. Like, sometimes you can have a pen that has feedback, but it glides along the page very smoothly, no effort at all. That is this pen, in essence. So it does have a nice feedback to tell you you're writing on a page with a fountain pen, but you're not going to have to exert much force to get it to move. That's a long-winded way of explaining that, but I hope you understand. And it brings out a nice fine line. This really is a fine writer. And the inlaid nib is just so cool. I don't think there's any nib that looks like this with the dual tone colors and the cool wraparound inlaid kind of style. And it has such a unique filling system. I mean, there is a reason it's called the Sheaffer Snorkel. That is kind of like the party trick of this pen. That is just such a cool gimmick. I think it's just wonderful. And also, it's just not that expensive, right? Like, my pen in particular is just under $100, which, I mean, I think that's a great deal for this pen. It's a pen with a history. It's a pen with a very unique nib and filling system, and it's a 14 karat nib, and it writes smoothly and consistently. So I think, I mean, if you can get a reputable dealer to sell you a Sheaffer Snorkel that is nice and mint condition, it'll be a great daily writer, in my opinion. So there's just not much bad things I can say about this pen. I guess the one thing, and this is really just personal, about this pen that I don't really like is the fact that I don't reach for it that much. And that's through no fault of the pen itself. It's just, I don't find this pen to be that aesthetically appealing, personally. All right, like, capped, I don't reach for this pen because it just looks like a very generic pen. So I would normally reach for my Visconti or my Mont Blanc or my Pelican, but I wouldn't reach for this pen. But when I do reach for it and I do write with it, I enjoy that experience, and I write with it for long periods of time. So is it a bad thing? I'm not even sure anymore. Anyway, that's enough of me blabbering about. I think it's time that I do a writing sample. Okay, here's the writing sample. I do have to apologize for where I'm filming this. This is on the floor, and I have you guys on a bedside table because I'm in a hotel room. I have nothing to film with, not even really a desk. So, anyway, here is the Sheaffer Snorkel Sentinel. This has a 14 karat nib, and also, I'm sorry for the handwriting. Is that a C or an R? I'm not sure. I am lying on the floor. So, the ink is a mixture of Konpeki and Mont Blanc Mystery Black. And the reason I have it like this is because I ran out of ink, and the only ink I brought along with me on the trip was Mont Blanc Mystery Black. And I think it's gonna be alright if I mix them, because I hear Mont Blanc has relatively pH neutral inks. I do wonder, in terms of inks, how this pen will cope with, say, a shimmer or a sheen ink, especially considering its very complex filling system. So it's a nice, like I said, nice and smooth writer with some feedback. Then in terms of line variation, there is not much. It's very consistent, and it is definitely a fine nib. And in terms of flex, there is none. Like you can see, yeah, that hurts. It hurts to do that, but there is no flex on this pen. And you can get a flex nib, I think, with this, but this is not, obviously not that. Also, I didn't mention this just now, but you can see the nib on the very tip. It kind of bends upward, which is apparently how that's supposed to be, so that's interesting. Then, well, what's left? Well, fast writing. There is no problem at all. That's not very fast, is it? Let's go faster. I don't know what I'm doing anymore, but you know, it copes. It copes just fine. And in terms of wetness, it's not a gusher. I think it's just adequate. But you know, it's adequate is good, like I said in that video with the 823. So there is the pen. I like it a lot.